Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, news, business, and self-development. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection, and access to daily news digests from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post, as well as guided meditation programs. Between a full-time job in IT and a full-time job in podcasting, it gets harder and harder to sit down and read the books I'm interested in. This is where Audible comes in. I can listen on my daily commute, relaxing, or while out running errands and still get in the books I've been wanting to get into. You can download titles and listen offline anytime, anywhere. The app is free and can be installed on all smartphones and tablets. Now you can try Audible risk-free with a special 30-day free trial by visiting audibletrial.com/nerdery and murdery. That's audibletrial.com/nerdery and murdery. Don't let your busy life get in the way of that great book you've been wanting to read. Go get your free trial of Audible today. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. This is Jeffrey, and we've talked about many times before that I experience problems and struggles with my mental health. And really, without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy does work. It's helped for me, but what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships at work, or you're not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's really time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles, and it's time to start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is a customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. So join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And there's a special offer to Nerdery and Murdery listeners. You can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/nerdery and murdery. That's betterhelp.com/nerdery and murdery. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast. All right.
What up?
Welcome. This, and I got to start over. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I know.
He impersonated my cackle.
I know. Y'all are idiots. William impersonating Zig. That's outstanding. Welcome to episode 24 of Nerdery and Murdery.
Hello, I am Zig with your nerdery.
And I'm Jeffrey with your murdery. We sometimes crack each other up. We just finished listening to our opening for the theme song, and I wanted to say, great job, William. That's very, very, very nice. So,
way to go, Will.
Outstanding. I unfortunately have to open with some very sad news.
Oh, no.
I didn't tell you earlier, and I'd put it down. So I was scrolling through Facebook this morning. Marky Post died.
Aww.
Yeah, so very sad.
Night Court.
Night Court.
Especially. And Fall Guy.
And yes, she was Fall Guy too. And, you know, that's especially sad since they're rebooting Night Court. Well, they're rebooting Night Court. The Melissa Rauch from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
She is going to be playing Judge Stone's daughter.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Who's a judge in the same court.
Yeah.
And John Larroquette will be in the show and everything. But yeah, Marky Post died. So very sad, very, very sad to hear that. So sorry to open with that. So on to other things.
Okay.
So I had my fantasy football owners meeting last week, our time.
Okay.
And because of my research for episode 10, I brought up the Empire League, and it looks like we're going to be moving to an Empire League next year.
Oh, wow.
Very excited about that. Everybody was like, yeah, I think that's great. So thought that was cool. I did have one correction from going back to episode 6. I was listening to a random episode as I was driving around yesterday.
Right on.
And I knew this. I feel so stupid. The original U.S. Navy Enterprise carrier was built before Star Trek.
Yes.
Star Trek did not impress the Navy to make the carrier. So I knew that, but they kept it going because...
Yeah, when they rebuilt it, they named that the Enterprise.
Yes, yeah, because the original was the CV6, and then the later was the CVN 65, maybe? I can't remember.
I know they called that one the Big E. And
Yeah.
I think they're building a new one, aren't they?
The Enterprise has been decommissioned, so I haven't heard they're going to build another one, so I don't know. So I just had to make that correction. That was stupid of me. I do want to say that because our friend and fan Hope asked us for this, we will be doing some episodes focusing on specific Star Trek series.
Yes.
Because episode 6 was a really good one. We covered a lot of topics within Star Trek, but her comment was we really didn't go very in depth into the series or the movie. So we're going to do individual episodes for that.
I have already noted up Star Trek TOS.
Yeah,
so
the original
probably
series.
in either the next recording session or the recording session or after that, we will be doing
That's great.
TOS.
We'll also do individual episodes for Star Wars movies.
Yes.
Most likely focusing on 3 at a time with the original, the prequel, and then the current ones.
Yes.
So we will be doing that. So thank you to Hope for that.
Thanks, Hopi.
And then whatever sources for Star Trek Strange New Worlds I read where Jennifer Lawrence was going to be number 1 apparently was wrong because Rebecca Romijn is in it, confirmed.
Sweet.
Seen her in the trailer, so.
Sweet.
Oh, well. My sources were wrong. What do I know? What do I know?
Yeah, well, everything on the internet's true.
Exactly. So that's all I had to start this episode. You got anything else?
Yes. Yesterday, Ashley and myself took Lorelai and Ella to the roller rink, and we went to the newly reopened Silver Wheel in White Settlement. They have redone the entire facility. They've got all new skates. Yeah, I honestly, it impressed me so much. I'm thinking, my 50th birthday will be up in a couple of years. Maybe I want to do it there.
So since you love roller rinks so much, can we do an episode over Xanadu?
I thought you were going to do the episode on Xanadu.
I know I probably should.
Yes. I have roller rink info for that one.
I'll probably be the only one interested in that, but whatever.
It's your obsession with Olivia Newton-John. I just don't get it.
Oh, I am just incredibly obsessed with her. That she was my first crush ever, and I just love everything that she's done. And then, before I forget, so we will be putting this as the opening to an episode. We got a voicemail from an old friend, Glenn, earlier this week, and whenever we do the episode that he speaks of, that's going to be our opening for sure.
I already started noting that one out.
Yeah, that's going to be a hysterical one.
Oh my God, I was rolling laughing.
I was too. I've listened to it several times. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Just if you're in West Fort Worth, go out and check out the newly remodeled and redone Silver Wheel because it's been there since the 1940s. My grandparents skated there. My parents skated there. I skated there. My kids have skated there. 4 generations.
Great. All right, then why don't we step into the nerdery side of the house for today?
Well, awesome. So I was kicking this idea around because we've been doing a few music episodes, and I wanted to do maybe not focus on a particular band, but 10 songs that you really need in your playlist. 10 indie songs that really did not get their due back in the day, at least here in the States. So I made a list, and there is a YouTube playlist out there that should be available for our users, or our listeners.
Our users.
Yes, our listeners to peruse. It'll either be album art cover or the original video on it that they can hit as of when this airs. So,
and it's called.
It is called Nerdery and Murdery, 10 indie songs that should be in your playlist.
There you go.
But if you look up Nerdery and Murdery, it's the first thing that comes up.
Which is how I listen to this music. I listen to it through that playlist.
Yes.
So I have my notes as we go. So
Okay. The first song is Made of Stone by the Stone Roses. It's a single from their eponymous album, which was released on March 6th, 1989. Now, this song was huge in Britain. It was part of the Manchester movement, which is kind of associated with acid house, but only tangentially.
Manfred Jensen.
Manfred Jensen. Yes, but yeah, it's I think of it as a great sing along love song. I think it's got a great hook in it too. What did you think of that one?
So for my notes, I've got really, 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 really like this song.
I figured you would.
At one point, though, I'll swear I heard a sampling of Dale Shannon's Runaway, and I kept listening. Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah, that ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
Yeah, it is totally in there. Yeah, when they're kind of a jam band, and they would go off. And honestly, the one thing I can't say about the Stone Roses is I think their songs are a little long, but I kind of like that. But
I like this song a lot.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Lot.
Yeah. Well, and it was a big hit over there. I want to say Made of Stone made it up in the indie charts. I don't think it made it to number 1, but I think it made it into the top 10 over here. It was a big tune, but it kind of, when it went away, it just kind of went away forever. And it's something that I think if it had given the chance on regular radio, this song would be part of your 80s collection.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, because it was different. It doesn't sound like every other song in 1989.
No. And I would add this into a playlist. I liked it enough that I would add it.
Yeah. It's a good tune. The next one is Into the Heart of Love by the Mighty Lemon Drops, a single from their album Laughter, which was also released in 1989. I got associated, I got introduced to these guys because they were doing a tour with, I really shouldn't, I'm not going to mention this person's name. They were doing a tour with John Wesley Hardin, which was another English act. And a friend of mine went to go to that concert, and they brought a tape recorder with them.
Oh, God.
They recorded a couple songs. It was a terrible recording, but I heard Into the Heart of Love, and I was like, oh, wow, this is great, because I hadn't heard it yet. And then I started hearing it on the Edge, and I went out and bought Laughter, and there's 5 or 6 good songs on that album.
So on this one, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was really different than most late 90s to early aughts.
Yeah.
I thought it was not bad, not great.
Yeah.
I most likely would not change channels because this was on, but not anything I would rush out to add into my list.
It's interesting that you said late 90s, early aughts. This was actually released in 1989.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's about 10 years ahead of its time. Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of this stuff, I think, kind of speaks to that. This one was a great tune. And again, I'm not going to name that person.
No, I don't think you should.
I don't want them to get in trouble.
No.
But yeah, this is one, again, I hear it and I'm like, man, why didn't more people splash out for this tune? Because it's great. Again, this is also another one that was huge in Britain, but not here. The third song, 2 Days in February by the Goo Goo Dolls. This is on that album, Hold Me Up. Also, it was released in May of 1990. Now, I will say this. If you listen to this song, the opening guitar riff, it sounds like they ripped it off of Oasis. It really is. It's the opening to Wonderwall. The only reason I know they didn't really rip it off of Oasis is because this was released 5 years before Oasis existed.
Okay. So maybe they ripped off from them.
Yeah. I really, if I'd have been the Goo Goo Dolls, I'd have sued Oasis. It's that close.
Well, on this one, this was a meh for me. I've heard better of theirs. This song actually bored me.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I know like the opening where they're recording basically on the porch.
Yeah, I said this song might be good to put me to sleep.
Oh, wow.
I was not a fan of this one.
Oh, man.
Nope.
I think this may be my favorite Goo Goo Dolls song.
All right. I mean, no worries. Just not mine.
Not so much?
Nope.
Okay.
Not me.
The next one is Haven't Got a Clue by Dramarama. Now, these guys were huge in the indie scene. Band out of New Jersey. Mm-hmm. But to me, they actually sound more Texas than anything else. The opening line I'm not crazy about. 2 kittens die on Christmas. It kind of brings me down, but it's a happy song. Okay, you're smiling. What did you think about this one? It is off the album Vinyl, I'm sorry, and it was released in October of 1991.
So I said pretty decent. It reminded me of Fountains of Wayne and Stacy's mom.
Yeah.
It most likely would not make me change channels, but when I heard it, I was like, this sounds like Fountains of Wayne.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, they definitely borrowed pretty heavily from these guys.
All right.
Yeah. So the next one is a more recent. Most of these that I'm talking about actually hit in a 1 to 5 year period.
Okay.
Between about 88 to about 93. It's just because there was a period where indie music really made it mainstream, and I felt like some of these songs should have gone with the Nirvanas and the Pearl Jams. They just didn't for one reason or another. So I feel like they really do need to get a public shout out. The next song is actually not one of those. It's actually was released in 2015. It is Summer Shandy by the Front Bottoms from their album Back on Top. Now, my oldest daughter introduced me to this band. She's like, "Oh, Dad, you got to hear these guys." And I've liked everything they've released.
This sounded like any of 100 other bands to me.
Really?
I didn't think there was anything special here. I literally, you could put them in a list of seriously about another 100 bands, and I could not pick them out.
You couldn't pick it out of a lineup? Okay. Not so much?
Nope. Just, I thought, meh.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But hey, don't take my word for it. I'm just, I'm the old curmudgeon over here,
I collect curmudgeons.
Right. All right.
As someone pointed out. The next one is Not Too Soon by the Throwing Muses. It was released on their album, The Real Ramona, in 1991. And again, when I saw New Order, this was the opening band for them. I heard this song live. It was beautiful. Okay. It was not as polished as it is on the album, but I heard it about a year before the album came out. So I think they were just trying to test it out. So I don't think they were done with the song yet, but it was really, really good. And again, it's another one that I think them specifically, you should have been able to hear these guys because I think they had a lot to say and they just didn't get big airplay.
Mm-hmm. So I thought they were good until about 28 seconds in. The drums overpower the song at that point.
You think so?
Oh my God.
A little too much on the drums?
I was so happy when that tapered off because okay, now I can listen to the song. And then I thought, okay, yeah, I really like this. Now the drums are back. That was annoying because the drums overpowered the song.
Okay.
Way overpowered. At least in the one I listened to. I mean, if there's a different version, I'd love to hear it again because I really thought it was pretty good up until that point. Just the
too much drum.
Too much. Way too much.
Well, and that's not necessarily an artist thing. That could just be a recording issue.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Because if you could have tapered those drums off, I thought it was a great song.
It is a great song. Yeah. Even her going because it fits, it goes.
All right, but then them drums would. Just listen to it on that playlist. Yes,
maybe I ought to pick a different song in that playlist. Yeah, I'll pick a different version of it.
Yeah, because I would love to hear a different version that does not have that because that annoyed me.
The next one is Stargazer by Mother Love Bone, and I think you've heard this one before.
Nope.
No, I think this was actually on the single soundtrack, maybe. But yeah, this is one of those grunge bands I was talking about earlier that did not get enough play, and they have a real funk sound to them. I think they're better than Pearl Jam.
So I know that Mother Love Bones were pioneers into grunge. I knew this before I was listening to it.
Yeah.
But when I heard this, my first comment was, really? Guns N' Roses much?
Yeah.
because this is Guns N' Roses all over it.
You think so?
All over this song. Go back and listen to that again, because you could have thrown that on a Guns N' Roses album, and I probably
wouldn't have known the difference.
Wouldn't have known the difference. I mean, maybe I would have, because I mean, it's not them, but yeah, I know that, because Guns N' Roses was one of the bands that kind of got killed by grunge.
Yes.
And right at the end. And so maybe when this one came out, maybe that was on the cusp of that into Pearl Jam and everything.
This would have been released in 1990.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
About that time.
Yeah. So absolutely, because it did. There was a lot of hair band stuff all over this, but specifically Guns N' Roses, as I listened to it. So
the next one is If I Can't Change Your Mind by Sugar, off the album Copper Blue, which was released in January of 1993. I'm surprised you hadn't heard this one before.
Nope. I didn't hear any of these.
That saddens me, because some of this stuff is really good.
Again, when you're talking about that 5-year period, though, remember, I was still hairband phase, and I wasn't listening to grunge. Grunge and I were not fans. I just was not a fan of grunge, and so there was years before I listened to that. So that's a whole dark period of music for me, to be honest.
Your dark period.
It's my dark period. Yeah.
Yeah, this song actually was a bit of a hit. I think actually it may not have even been technically an indie release. I think it was released on like Ryko Discs, which is kind of a major, kind of not. It was big, and this is Bob Mould, who was with Husker Du, and then he was on his own.
Husker Don't.
Yes, and Husker Don't.
Thank you, Joe Dirt.
Husker Do's, Husker Don'ts. But yeah, and then he did a solo where he did a couple of albums, and then he got with these guys and did this band called Sugar, where they did 2 albums, and then he went back to doing solo stuff. But this one it's the one that really kind of captivated everyone. I think this is his biggest hit, and I think what it is that acoustic guitar that he's almost playing like it's a heavy metal guitar. He's just banging the shit out of that thing. But it's beautiful.
So I didn't hate this song. It's another that I thought was pretty good, but not great. But the more I listened to it, the better the song got.
Yeah, this song, it's one of those ones that got to grow on you a little bit.
Yeah, and it did. The longer it played, the longer I gave it. I was like, I do kind of like this one.
Yeah. Eventually, you will find yourself singing this one in the car.
Probably not, but sure, okay.
This is one of those ones that I'm surprised you hadn't heard it, because it was on heavy rotation in my car back in the 90s.
Shows how much I pay attention to you.
La 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 la. Yeah. 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 Okay, and the next one is Flowers in the Rain by the band Stress, from their album Stress, which was released in 1991. Now, believe it or not, this is actually an English band. They're an Anglo-Afro-Caribbean group. They were a 3-piece. They released this album, a couple of singles, and then they broke up because they couldn't get along. But I think it's a shame, because it's like, there was kind of a movement to get back to a psychedelic sound in the early 90s, and these guys just really tapped into it. Very, very, I don't know, what's a good word, like almost like the Beatles or maybe Hendrix or that. I think that's kind of what they were going for.
Well, so that's funny. So not knowing the dates of these, because I didn't look up the dates. So I'm probably wrong when I'm saying this, because this artist, I guess, came out later. I don't know. But what I heard in them was Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz, I think, is after them.
Okay.
Well, I think he released his first album about the same time.
But
yeah,
I mean, maybe he took some influence from this. I don't know. I heard Lenny Kravitz.
Yes. Yes. If you like Lenny Kravitz, you will like Stress.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, the beginning of this song almost induced a panic attack for me.
Oh, the psychedelic.
Oh God, yes. I really would have preferred that went away.
Yeah.
I mean, that actually, their name Stress, that actually stressed me out. Once it got past that, it really picked up. I loved the opening guitar and continued liking it into the song. And that's why I said, I heard Lenny Kravitz here. But yeah, that opening, oh God. I was like, Please stop.
It's
Please
a little
stop.
nuts.
Please
and
stop.
then when they get into the song, it rocks.
I think you put this song in here because you know I get panic attacks and you want to do induce
No,
one. I think that's what happened.
no. If I wanted to induce panic attacks, I would have put Weens, Push the Little Daisies, and Make 'Em Come Up in this list.
I'm actually surprised that didn't happen. I didn't even think about that.
Because I know how much you hate that song.
You're an asshole.
Cree and I'll just walk around the house singing that song. Push the Little Daisies and Make 'Em Come Up. Honorable mention for this list.
God.
Weens, Push the Little Daisies, and Make 'Em Come Up. Yeah, I once drove an entire help desk crazy by
Yes, you did.
posting a link to that in a chat. So yeah, I think it's a shame. I think Stress could have been really, really great. I agree. Maybe they needed to tone down that opening of that song.
Yeah.
It's a little much.
Yeah, it was way too much.
And I'm a guy that likes Jesus and Mary chant.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it was a little too much. Okay. And the last song, which is, it's by Driving and Crying.
Mm-hmm.
Driving and Crying had a huge hit with their next album after this, Fly Me Courageous.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew that song. Driving and Crying is both a kind of a alt country band and a heavy metal band at the same time.
Yeah.
They're also contemporaries of REM, and I want to say Straight to Hell was actually produced by Peter Buck.
Yeah, I said that I like the country undertone.
Yeah.
But this one, hard pass.
Really?
Overall, hard pass.
Really? This doesn't make you want to sing?
No. I was not a fan of this one.
Yeah. Straight to Hell by Driving and Crying from the 1989 album Mystery Road.
Nope.
Yeah, well, okay. There were two songs I kind of debated on putting this list, but off the same album. This or Honeysuckle Blue, which is, again, equal parts alt country and heavy metal.
Yeah, you're going to have to send me the name of that other one. I'd like to hear
Honeysuckle Blue?
Yeah, I'd like to hear a different one from this group because, like I said, I like their country undertone.
Yeah.
I like enough country that that I probably would have. I'd like to hear another.
Yeah.
Send me something else from
Yeah,
them.
Honeysuckle Blue, definitely. Yeah, and to our listeners, you should check out Straight to Hell and Honeysuckle Blue. Now, Hootie and the Blowfish, they basically close every show now with a cover of I'm Going Straight to Hell.
Really?
Yes. Every time they close a show, they close it with I'm Going Straight to Hell. Just like...
Darius Rucker's now a country singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's won awards.
Yeah.
He's won country awards for this. His stuff is good. I like his stuff.
Yeah.
I've listened.
Well, and Hootie still does stuff too, right?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, they do at least 4 shows a year.
No, I did not know.
Yeah, they're not, they didn't, everything was amicable. They just decided that, maybe they should do other stuff for a little while. But yeah, they do 4 shows a year. 2 of them for charity. One is because they play this one venue on like New Year's Eve every year. And then another one that they do, I think it's somebody's house. So yeah, Hootie and the Blowfish still does 4 shows a year.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Was not.
And they close the show with I'm Going Straight to Hell, just like my mama said.
I wonder if they have a recording of that somewhere. I might like to hear their version of it.
Oh, yeah. Scattered. I think it's on Scattered, Smothered, and Covered, which is a cover album that they did.
Did they do it at Waffle House?
No, but they got the name from Waffle House's Scattered, Smothered,
Of course
and Covered.
they did.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, Scattered, Smothered, and Covered.
I'll look that up because I'd like to hear how they covered it. I did like Hootie and the Blowfish. I like Darius Rucker.
Yeah, their cover is really, really good. I don't think it's as good as this, but again, I do like things a little strange. But yeah, you know what? I might send you that.
Yeah, send that to me. I mean, overall, this wasn't bad. There was definitely stuff in here that I would give more listen to. There was some of the stuff that I'd like to hear others of their music. Stress, I think I'd like to hear a little more of theirs besides just that song, because I did like it after we got past that intro part. But yeah, no, this was. There was overall some pretty decent stuff in here, and again, stuff that was in my dark period, and I just
missed it. Yeah. Well, and again, it was that whole thing of at that point, radio station. It was designed to play the stuff that they thought was going to sell, and the little guys, they just didn't give them a good chance.
Right.
And I think it's a shame because a lot of this stuff is really, really, really good. And if it was given half the chance, they would have been hits. More people could have listened to it.
Mm-hmm.
And much like the Replacements, I think that a lot of these songs deserve better than what they got, if that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely does. No, I'm with you.
But yeah, that's basically it. Kids, go out there and listen to the list. See what you think. If you guys have recommendations, give it to us. I'm going to do another one of these probably in another 10 or 15 episodes.
Yeah, comment back to me and tell me how I'm wrong. I don't care.
Well, no, I mean it's personal choice. I'm surprised you didn't like Straight to Hell. I love that one.
Mm-mm. No,
that's singing at the top of my lungs with
all right. Well,
with Kelsey and Chloe.
I look forward to the comments. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
No, great, good stuff.
Well, thank you, sir.
Good stuff. So then I guess we'll go over to the murdery side of the house.
Murder.
For my story today, I got information off Wikipedia.
Okay.
Justice for Sierra, CNN, That Chapter, WTOL 11, Action News 13 Toledo, Crime Junkie podcast. They're really, really good. I'm going to listen to more of them, Crime Junkie. Mm-hmm. And Investigation Discovery. And this is the murder of Sierah Joughin. Sierah Catherine Joughin was born in Sylvania, Ohio on February 11th, 1996. To Sheila and Tom Joughin. She was nicknamed CE by her friends and family. She graduated from Evergreen High School in 2014.
Okay.
She was enrolled at University of Toledo's Junior College of Business studying human resource management.
Okay.
And she also interned at her uncle's metal stamping business. So overall,
yeah,
pretty good head on her shoulders.
On her way up.
On her way up in life. She was dating a boy named Josh. They'd been dating since high school, I believe since high school, quite a long time. Cute couple. And on July 19th, 2016, Sierra was riding home on her bicycle, and she was coming home from Josh's house. Mm-hmm. This was a bicycle that she was very proud of, that she had bought with her own money.
Oh, nice.
She loved riding it. Josh would ride alongside her on his motorcycle. And he even grabbed a picture of her as they were happily riding along out in the cornfields and everything.
Aww.
So this is not a big town that they live in. So they were on County Road 6 near Metamora, Ohio, which is in Fulton County. And Sierra told Josh, she goes, "Hey, you know what? I got it from here. I can make it the rest of the way home." And he's like, "Are you sure? I can get you the rest of the way?" She's like, "No, I'm good. We're not far." And he really kind of, he insisted, but she kind of insisted back. She goes, "Look, I'm almost home. I'm fine. It's all good." Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a small town, as I said, with a population of about 600.
600?
600.
That's tiny.
So Josh was like, "Yeah, okay, she's right. There's nothing to worry about. She's almost home." So Josh and Sierra parted ways at 6:45 p.m. Again, 6:45 p.m. on July 19th. There were some sites that said Sierra and Josh exchanged text messages, but they really didn't say how many and for how long.
Yeah. Well, she was riding a bike, he was riding a motorcycle. How many text messages could you exchange?
Well, I mean, she wasn't far from home, then he went home.
Yeah.
About 10 p.m., though, Josh tried calling Sierra because she had not let him know that she got home.
Yeah.
So I have to admit, I found this a little odd. She was almost home, but 3 hours go by and she hasn't, they said they texted, but she hadn't said she gotten home, and he waited 3 hours. I was like,
Well, I get that too. Sometimes people forget.
Maybe, maybe I'm just over.
Hey, did you make it? Yeah, I made it. I'm sorry.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But he did say that it was, that she usually lets him know, and his calls were going straight to voicemail, which was extremely unusual. Sierra's mother, she had been taking night classes. She didn't get home until 9:30, and Sierra wasn't home. But she said this wasn't unusual. It's the middle of the summer, and she figured Sierra must still be out with Josh.
Yeah.
Josh got concerned, and he called Sierra's mom at 10:30. At which point she told him, "Sierra is not here. She's not here at all." So Josh and Sierra's family immediately started a search for her. Somewhere between 11 and 11:30, they were freaking out and they called the cops to report Sierra was missing.
Excellent. They
called the police.
Call the police. Oh, they did. Okay, good.
Yes. Police immediately responded, and they started to begin a search. There was a deputy sheriff who was driving down County Road 6, and he noticed that a whole bunch of the corn stalks, like I said, a lot of corn stalks in this area, had been knocked down, so he went to investigate. Several rows in, there was obvious signs of a struggle.
Oh, no.
And motorcycle tracks through the corn. They also saw Sierra's bicycle there, along with 2 pairs of sunglasses, a green sock. Sierra was wearing green socks when she disappeared. A bloody screwdriver, and a motor vehicle fuse box. There were blood stains on the handlebars and seat of the bicycle.
A motor vehicle fuse box?
So a motorcycle fuse box. It's
Okay.
a box, I don't know, 6x6 with fuses in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't overly familiar with it either, but it was apparently there.
Okay.
In the investigation discovery episode, one of the FBI agents said that there was not enough blood to make them think that there was a fatal injury at the scene.
Okay.
All of this was less than half a mile from Sierra's home.
Ugh.
So again, very, very, the FBI was called in, and they started doing infrared search of the area. They also tracked her Fitbit and her smartphone. They found her cell phone several miles away.
Okay.
The owner of the cornfield was driving around on County Road 6 the evening of the disappearance, and his son, who was in the back, saw a motorcycle helmet on the ground. He stopped and picked it up, and it had a bloody handprint on it.
Oh.
So police then went to go question Josh.
Because he has a motorcycle.
As a motorcycle.
Was it missing a fuse box?
It was not.
Okay.
And they asked if they could search the house, and Josh said, yeah, come on in.
Search away.
Search the house, search the vehicles. They did find a pair of dirty coveralls in the bed of his pickup truck, which had blood on it.
Okay.
And Josh claimed it was deer blood, and they sent it off for tests, and it was not human blood. So Josh got eliminated as a person of interest.
Okay.
Josh's motorcycle helmet was also accounted for.
Yeah.
So he's now no longer a suspect.
Okay.
They said,
Well, and yeah, an innocent person would, yes, please go search. Here, look, here's this. Why does this have blood on it? It's a deer blood. Go get it checked. Here's my motorcycle helmet. Check it out.
right.
Yeah.
Right. But they had to eliminate him. I mean,
Exactly.
they had to question him.
And here's the thing. If he's actually concerned about finding her and being okay, he wants them to do that as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
If he's
Absolutely.
an innocent person. So,
Absolutely. He's interviewed for this.
Yeah.
His interviews tore me up. It was very, very sad. There were hundreds of people that began turning up to volunteer to search because Sierra was really kind of known. I mean, in a town of 600, you know everybody. And so people were kind of turning out in droves. There were awards that were posted from $25,000 up to $100,000 for any information leading herself to her safe return. And the officers began going door to door, talking to everybody they could, trying to get for more information. Hours and hours went by, but the crime lab was coming back with results from the scene. I was really surprised at how quick results were coming back. They did find men's DNA on one of the sunglasses that were found.
Okay.
The DNA, however, was not in their system.
Okay.
The second pair was Sierra's, and her DNA was found on them. So, verified it's definitely her. So police started to expand their search to the rest of the county.
Yeah.
And then they started looking specifically for violent felons and sex offenders. There was a name that jumped out right away, and this was James Dean Worley, who was a convicted felon, and he only lived a couple of miles away from where Sierra's bicycle was found. Here's why he stood out. There's some very eerie similarities of why he was convicted. On July 4th, 1990, James ambushed 26-year-old Robin Gardner while she was riding her bike in White House, Ohio. He struck her with his truck, got out of the vehicle, hit her on the head, and placed her in handcuffs.
Wow.
He placed a screwdriver against her head and said, "Do what I say or I'll kill you." Thankfully, they saw a motorcycle coming down the road. She began screaming and struggling to get the driver's attention.
Yeah.
The person stopped and immediately took her home, where her mother called the police.
Right.
When the police got to the scene, Worley was still there, surprisingly. And he claimed that Robin actually ran into him and he only handcuffed her so she wouldn't flee the scene before the police arrived.
Right.
Whatever. He ultimately got arrested and convicted on abduction charges, and he was sentenced to 4 to 10 years in prison with the possibility of parole. What he did, he actually pled an Alford plea, which I hadn't heard of this.
Yeah, what is an Alford?
That's when a person accepts all the ramifications of a guilty verdict without admitting to committing the crime. So we've actually talked about people who've done this Alford plea before. I just didn't have a name for it. This is often to avoid being convicted on a more serious charge. This is basically a person saying, yeah, you've got enough evidence to convict me. I'm not admitting to committing the crime, but I see there's enough evidence, so I'll do this Alford plea so I get a lesser sentence.
Right on.
That's what it was. So James would only serve 3 years before being released in 1993.
Okay.
So a group of 4 officers went to go talk to James on July.
Oh, bet they did.
Yeah. On July 21st, 2016, they went to...
I bet they got the 4 biggest bubbas they had in the police department.
Well, I don't know that. That part I don't know. When they went to her house, again, July 21st, 2016, this is roughly 40 hours after Sierra had been reported missing. James was very irritated that the police were there. They said it looked like he had a very rough time recently. His legs were bruised and there were marks on his arms that looked fresh. And then what he says made police even more suspicious. So I've got to go through the transcript here. I listened to this. It was just wow. These are from the police recordings when they went to talk to James. So James says, "Who are you?" And the first officer says, "Yeah, we work on that violent crime task force." And James says, "Okay, so?" And the second officer says, "And I'm with the state." And then James says, "Okay, so you guys got some suspicions for something here. So you're going to tell me this is all under the guise of just checking every household and you're not here for any particular reason?" And one of the officers says, "There's a young lady missing." And James says, "I'm not out there killing chicks. I don't have any relationships. In fact, I'm trying to get one started online a little bit right now, but she's been out here, and guess what? She went home alive." The officer says, "Is there anybody in your house but your mother?" And James says, "Just my mom." And the officer says, "Is there any reason why we couldn't go in and look?" And James says, "What part of the house do you want to look at?" And the officer says, "We'd like to look through the whole house." And James says, "I haven't killed anybody. I haven't raped anybody. Let's get that straight." And the officer said, "Well, believe it or not, being cooperative is always good." And James said, "Yeah, right. I've listened. Dude, if I were a psychopath, I'd have had your gun and shot you all." And the officer says, "Nah, I'm too quick for that." And James says, "I don't think so." And the officer says, "You're saying you've killed before and you know?" And then James said, "I'm just saying, sir, that's not too cool to say to me." So he was, everything he was saying in there, I'd have gone, ding, 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 ding. We've got something wrong here. We've got something wrong.
Yeah. Is somebody calling a judge now to get a warrant?
That's exactly where I thought this.
I'm thinking if there is any reason for probable cause, what that guy just said right there.
One would think.
Yeah. Which part of the house do you want to search? All of it.
Well, and then he further goes on. He tells the police that he was riding in the area and that his motorcycle broke down. Fuse box missing. And then he saw 2 bicycles in the field, not just one. He even tells police that his fingerprints will probably be on Sierra's bike because he touched it.
Okay.
He then said he lost some stuff in the cornfield, specifically all the things that were found at the crime scene.
Okay.
And nothing had been reported in the media of what had been recovered.
Oh.
So he then even demanded they give him the motorcycle helmet back. So, I mean, this guy's giving him everything, you know? Go ahead.
We need to fund public education in rural areas. I just, as a side note,
we don't know he's from rural necessarily.
Okay, all right.
You know, that's an assumption. That's a rat tracking, sir.
That is a rat tracking assumption. That is, given the evidence I have at hand, I just think maybe we should rethink funding public education in rural areas.
Or public education, period.
Yeah, okay.
So the police were, of course, very suspicious at this point. And
Really?
yeah, but they didn't let that on to James, and they just kind of started moving around the property with him. Then they got to the barn, and James started going, what do we need to do in here? We're good, blah, blah, blah.
We're all fine here. Everything's fine. How are you?
Well, they went inside, and they've got James on recording. He said, let's get out of here. It's fucking hot, man. There's nothing in here. Come on. There's another little section over here you can look at. So really trying to steer him away from areas.
Don't look in here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Oh, that girl over there in the corner? No,
right.
no.
And so they kind of started moving bales of hay around, and because they saw where it looked like someone had swept recently. Behind some bales, they found a wooden box under the bales, and it was like a green wooden box with some chicken wire around it. Very weird. Inside the box were bondage restraints, adult diapers, white tube socks, sex toys, latex gloves, lingerie, zip ties, duct tape, and several pairs of women's underwear, one of which was stained with blood. And they asked James about it, and he goes, "Oh, it's just girlfriend stuff." So he tried shutting down the officers on any more consented search. He said, "Y'all are just trying to kink shame me. You're trying to judge me for things." And he said he'd seen enough at this point. And they said, "Yeah, we're going to go down the station for questioning."
Yeah.
So they took him in so they could go get a warrant for the barn.
Yeah. I have seen enough of this. Yeah, so have we.
Yeah. While under questioning, James told police that he was walling off a portion of the barn because he wanted to be a porn producer.
Oh.
And so he was making a little porn studio in this barn.
Okay.
And he also said, "I've never hurt anyone, killed anyone, or raped anyone." And they're like, "You know what? We just want to find Sierah alive."
Yeah.
And he responded with, quote, "Dude, I do not have her stashed, hidden, buried, or whatever it is you're thinking. I haven't done it, don't know, I have no answers. I'm just not the guy. If I was going to attack a chick, I would leave. And I've been around the block. Would I leave any evidence whatsoever to be found?" This guy ain't helping himself at all.
No.
So the police got the warrant, and they went back to the barn that night, and they found some more bales of hay, and that's when they came across a secret room. In the room, there were restraints hanging from the walls. All the windows had been spray painted black from the inside, so no one could see out.
Yep.
And then they noticed a strange piece of plywood with holes on the floor. So I just want to say here, because I saw this in the video, I started getting the willies here real bad when they showed that piece of plywood on the floor. They lifted it up, and there was a freezer that had been dug into the ground and is secured with a ratchet strap. I was getting the willies. I'm like, oh God, they're going to open it and Sierra's going to be inside. Oh my God, oh my God. They did lift it out of the freezer, but it was empty.
Okay.
So yeah, I went on this emotional roller coaster, like, oh my God, she's going to be here. Oh my God.
Oh my God,
thank God she's not going to be.
Oh God.
But I think she may have been in there at one point. I don't know.
Okay.
The freezer was lined with carpet, and it smelled like bleach, like it had been cleaned, but there was a smell of decomposition in there. And the crime scene technicians did test the freezer, and there was a positive test for blood.
Okay.
So somebody.
Yeah, but bleach, you probably can't get a lot of DNA off of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bleach destroys that.
I don't know. Police then requested James's cell phone records while they continued to, turn the property upside down. There was blood found on his motorcycle, an air mattress in the barn, more adult diapers in his house, along with recording devices, guns, ammo, nanny cams, journals, and maps. Out in his green pickup truck, they found even more zip ties and a trash bag stuffed with used paper towels. There was another truck on the property, which was a red one, which had been freshly washed. They found a hunting kit, and everything got sent back to the lab for crime analysis.
Right on.
3 days after Sierra's disappearance, they decided they had enough to arrest James, which they did on July 22nd, and charged him with one count of abduction, because at this point, that's all we've got.
Know what's going on. Yeah.
FBI and police did put out information into the community to please search their properties for anything unusual. And later that day, a farmer called police about an unusual amount of dirt in a field near County Road 7, which was just a few miles from James's house. It ended up being a shallowly dug grave, and Sierra's body was found. Her body was found intact, hogtied, and a large plastic toy in her mouth, functioning as a gag, and she was wearing an adult diaper. Later, it would come up that James told his therapist that he actually learned from his first conviction and that he was going to bury the next one. Yeah. Sierra's body did get taken for autopsy. Police continued searching James's property while that. Police did not find any further human remains, but they were able to continue building their case against James, and they now upgraded the charges from abduction to aggravated murder. His cell phone records came back showing that he was in the area of the field where Sierra was abducted for 2 hours that night. And then his phone records also put him right near where Sierra's body was eventually found.
What if they get him on murder one? Because this sounds like it was premeditated. Maybe not her, but he was going to murder someone.
I don't know, because I'm not a lawyer. I only play one on TV,
Right
so
on. Okay,
I don't know for sure.
Sorry. I was just...
No, you're fine. I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm thinking, capital murder. We can. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds premeditated, right?
Well, so
if you got everything ready to kill somebody,
it's aggravated murder because it's murder while in the progress of another crime, and so he abducted her and then murdered her. That's where it goes to aggravated. Okay. I think for capital murder, I think it has to be murder in numbers, murder of a police judge or fire while in the line of duty, or murder for money.
Okay.
I think. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it goes to capital. So aggravated murder is like pretty much the highest. And I think that is murder one. So, So they then got to search James's computer, and they found searches for things like hogtie teen, gag, rape, and helpless. What a creep. Sierra's DNA would turn up all over James's stuff, like duct tape, the air mattress, one of the pairs of underwear that he had, the bloody one, the motorcycle helmet, and on a handcuff key that was on his key ring.
Wow.
The autopsy report came back in the middle of August, and it showed that Sierra had blunt force trauma consistent with being hit by a motorcycle, and that she actually died of asphyxiation from something being shoved into her mouth. The autopsy, surprisingly, did not show any signs of sexual assault. I expected there was going to be.
Wow.
James would remain in prison until his case made it to trial in March of 2018. The prosecution said that James had been sitting around his house all day watching porn and decided to go out on a motorcycle ride. He came across, again, this is what the prosecution is claiming. He came across Sierra, drove past her, and when she caught up to him, he hit her with the helmet, dragged her and her bike into the corn, then tied her up and gagged her. He then left her while he went to get his van. He did even call his brother to get a ride back to his house since his motorcycle was not operational, the fuse box that was found there. And then back at the barn, he physically abused her before killing her and then taking her out to be buried in the cornfield. James claimed he was not guilty and that it was just coincidence that his motorcycle had broken down in that spot the day before Sierra went missing. He ends up getting charged with 17 counts altogether, including 2 counts of aggravated murder. And that could end up getting him the death penalty. Robin Gardner, the one that he was originally convicted for, they called her in as a witness.
Hello.
And there were also recordings played from James's sister saying that James had been suspected in 2 or perhaps 3 other murders.
Wow.
On March 27th, 2018, after deliberating less than 6 hours, the jury found James guilty of murdering Sierra Joughin and recommended the death penalty. So this next part, I'm about to give James a statement in court, and I want to warn anybody. I've given you this warning before. Those of you that are just, that have found some things a little sickening and can't listen, turn your ears off. Go forward 30 seconds. Don't listen to this. I put this in here just because I want to show how fucking twisted this asshole is. So you've been prepared.
Hold on.
What am I holding for?
Okay.
You're timing it.
Yes.
You're time to see if it's actually 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually going to be 30 seconds, but I think it may be.
Go.
So here's his statement. Like I said, be prepared. It's very sickening. Hello, everyone. Since the onset of this thing, I've been instructed to remain silent, to say nothing, and that is the good advice to just anyone who is in my kind of predicament. The less you say, the better off you are. First and foremost, I want to say that my family, myself, my family, everyone I know is heartbroken for the Joughin family. Make no mistake. Now, the person who used my home, who found it after I lost, I truly believe she was attacked. And then my big goofy shows up with my body that he's got her subdued. I don't know where. I don't have those answers. He took her home and left the problem. The DNA found under her fingernails is not my DNA. And during the 2 or 3 days that he had Sierra, I believe she was drugged, literally kept under, subdued to have her under control. Don't ask me why she wasn't raped. She was a beautiful girl, but she wasn't, and I'm glad. That's the statement that he gave in court. They played that in the video, so I watched that. His family got up and left. They couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I really don't blame them. And I'm really sorry that I put that, but I just really wanted to show what an incredible piece of shit this guy is.
And still denying it too.
Absolutely still denying it. So he gets sentenced to death and was granted a temporary stay of execution in 2018, but he remains on death row while his appeals are pending. His execution date has been delayed twice, but to appeals, these have been denied, have been delayed twice, but appeals to these have been denied, and he's currently has an execution date set for May 20th, 25. I expect that it's been delayed because they're still investigating other cases with him. So I think that's why they have delayed this till 2025. The other investigations are still ongoing. There was a reporter for WTOL News named Emily Nelson. She did some research into other unsolved crimes within a few miles of James's property, and she came up with a list of 6 murders and 1 disappearance going back to 1980. This list is all women ranging from teenagers to women in their 30s, including 14-year-old Lori Ann Hill, whose body was found in 1985, not too far away from where Sierra was found.
Wow.
In August of 2020, FBI and Fulton County sheriffs began excavating James' property, but no information has been released on what they did or did not find there. So he remains on death row. Meanwhile, Sierra's family has been advocating for Ohio to create a violent offender database. And on December 19th, 2018, Sierra's law, Senate Bill 67 and 231, was officially signed into law. Sierra's family argued that not enough information was available to law enforcement and residents regarding convicted felons residing in their communities. And if a system had been in place to warn the offenders in their area, her murder might have been avoided.
Yeah, they could have found her before she was asphyxiated.
Yep, because James Worley was not on any local, state, or federal database that tracks offenders.
Wow.
Yep. This database is primarily for law enforcement, but citizens do have the ability to learn the residents' felons convicted of violent offenses at their county sheriff's office. The violent offenses are aggravated murder, voluntary manslaughter, abduction, and kidnapping. There is an annual event called the Spirit of Sierra Run Walk.
So the biggies. The biggies.
Yeah, the biggies. Right.
Yeah. I don't care if he stole the jukebox.
Right.
Yeah, I want to know if he's a murdering, capturing person.
Right.
Yeah.
There's an annual event called the Spirit of Sierra Run Walk, which donates all proceeds from the run to the nonprofit Justice for Sierra Incorporated. This promotes the Sierra Strong program for the community, which empowers youth with self-awareness and self-defense techniques and provides parents with kid print IDs, which are laminated cards that feature a child's photo, vital statistics such as height, weight, and hair color, along with fingerprints in the event the child goes missing. Since 2019, they've empowered nearly 700 children and continue to provide the program free of charge.
Nice.
And there is a second annual event called Sierra's Birthday Soiree, with all proceeds benefiting Justice for Sierra Incorporated. This is an evening of drinks, food, and a live silent auction at a purple tie event. Purple was her favorite color, to keep Sierra's memory alive and to celebrate her life.
Awesome.
And that, unfortunately, is the story of Sierra Joughin.
Well, okay. It's awesome that people get together and remember her every year.
Yes, I agree. the community has really bonded over this. I love this Sierra Strong program. I love everything they've done to keep her memory alive. The fact that they fought for this database, I couldn't believe that this database did not exist.
Yeah.
There were good things that came out of an unfortunate, horrific situation. The fact that this guy continued to remain free, and I mean, he only served 3 years in prison, and obviously was not reformed. I mean, it's that whole thing. He told a therapist he would learn from his mistake and he'd bury the next one.
Yeah.
I thought therapists were under law that they had to report stuff like that. So, why did that not get reported?
Or if it did nobody listen?
Right. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know, but it's just so much here. I mean, this is one where thankfully, I mean, the police were on this immediately.
Yeah.
There was no delay. We didn't have to say, please call the police or anything like that.
No, they called the police within just a couple of hours.
Yeah. I mean, everything went down right here. But as they said, had that database been in existence, they don't think that Sierra was killed immediately. And if that database had been in place, they might have actually been able to save her life.
Yeah.
So sad that they could not. But anyway, yeah. So thanks for taking another ride with me there.
Well, thank you. That was kind of an emotional roller coaster.
And a downer, of course. We go down the dark path with me.
Yeah.
Get to have some fun with your music, and then we take the dark side with me.
Yes.
So that'll take us to the end of another recording week.
Episode 24. We 24 in the can, brother.
Episode 24. Next episode 25 is our next wife swap.
That's right. We're going to do a wife swap next episode.
So I get to cover the nerdery next time. And you ready with your murder?
I am. I've had it for about 3 weeks now.
Outstanding.
Right on.
Outstanding. I'm already... I'm just about done with my next 3 episodes. I've got a little bit to do on one of them, but just about done. Try to keep anywhere from 3 to 6 in my head at one time and get rid of the rest of them. We've had a really good day of people listening to episode 10 so far. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, really, really getting after it too.
I love it. We saw that huge increase in fans this time this week for episode 10. But yeah, 24 is in the books. We can put the stamp on that one, send it on its way.
Send it on its merry.
Send it on its merry. As always, if you would like to contact us, you can find us on our website, nerderymurdery.com. That's where you can find pictures of us as well as links and pictures from every episode.
Yes. There is a link for the music playlist. You can go and hit it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
when I do another one, I'll just add to that list. So.
Perfect. Love it.
Excellent.
You can also find all of our social media on our website. Yes. You can find the link to our Patreon if you would like to support us so that we can continue to do this.
Please and thank you.
Thank you. You can also find our merchandise on our website as that went live this week, but it's several weeks in the future for y'all.
Yes.
We're into November, and maybe by then we'll have more stock to put in there. I don't know. It's a little limited right now, but you can find our merchandise anyway. With that,
I have been Zig with your nerdery.
And I'm Jeffrey with your murdery.
Cue the music.